Hello, savvy listeners. I am excited you are taking the time to invest in yourself today. Savvy, the business podcast, will show you how your daily habits can create your own platform. Experts will share solutions and efficient tips to create a roadmap just for you. One thing that can make this happen: change your habits, change your success. Welcome to Savvy, the business podcast. Hello, welcome to Savvy the Business Podcast. I'm Melissa Ambers, your host. And today we have Brandi Webb on with us. She has a production company and it's yet to evolve. And she is doing some really great things right now with the films that she's producing and, the one that she's have coming up. And I don't want to, say a lot right now because we're going to talk about that throughout the interview. But I really hope, that you listen to the interview and the things that she's going to share about her journey to create a film like this and how you can support, because this is something I think that everyone, regardless of who you are, where you are, should support this film and Brandi and the journey that she's doing with her filming career. So I'm going to go ahead and read you a little bit about her bio and we'll jump on in the conversation. Okay. As a producer, Brandi Webb is best recognized for her ability to attain the seemingly unattainable with an ambitious nature and an outside of the box mentality. She specializes in getting a production wherever it needs, regardless of how challenging the task. Brandi's production tasks are completed quickly, yet efficiently, and her professional manner holds her in an organized and reliable light. As a director, Brandi is known for having a good visual eye, which allows her to be great with blocking, camera shots, angles, and casting. She is exceptionally able to analyze and see what's necessary for bringing a vision to life and capturing it on stage or camera. That's an excellent way right there to stop in her bio, is how she's able to bring a vision to life through the lens. So with no further ado, hello, Brandi, and thank you so much for jumping on with us today.
Hi, Melissa. Thank you for having me. I'm super excited about doing this today.
Absolutely. So let's just get right on in. Yet to evolve. How did you come up with that name and why did you decide to call your production company that?
Okay, so back in the day, right, in the 2000s, early 2000s, I produced my first play. So before the whole film industry thing, I started out doing off Broadway plays. And my very first play was entitled Yet to Evolve. And it was about two high school kids. One was a Black girl who was dating a white boy, and the families did not approve of it. And the whole purpose of it, of the storyline, was they had to overcome their own issues. And basically each character had yet to evolve. They had to go through a process, a journey. And so that's why I named the play Yet to Evolve. And after I produced that first play and we sold out our seats, and here I am, a young little thing, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, my first play, and everybody loves my work. And I was just like, I think this is what I want to do. I want to keep doing this. And so I decided to officially incorporate and have my own production company. And I just thought the name Yet to Evolve would be fitting. It's the name of the first thing that got this going. And then when you think about theater, the theater world at the time I wasn't thinking film yet. That came later on. But I was thinking with theater, there's so many things you can do. It's a process. Everything is a journey. And as artists, we always have yet to evolve because we're always changing. We're always evolving and coming up with new ideas and new concepts and growing. And so we can always change. We can always evolve. So you always have yet to evolve. And that's how that began.
Wow, that's amazing. And I can understand the excitement, your very first film, and you're selling out all the seats. So I can imagine the excitement that goes along with that. When that happened, did you get, like want to step back, like, oh wow, this is bigger than what I thought. I didn't expect this. And did you kind of push back a little bit, or you just went full steam ahead?
Well, the funny thing is that I always dreamed big. I've always been a dreamer. So from the time I was 8 years old and I actually was acting in my first play, I knew that I wanted to be an actress. And I was always tugging on my mom's coat, like, sign me up for an audition, get me in a class. Come on, this is what I want to do. And so from 8 years old all the way up into my early adulthood, that's what I pursued, acting, and so with me wanting to be an actress and doing that, and then going into producing my first play, I always saw big things for me. I always saw my name in lights. I always saw me just doing great, wonderful things in my community. And so I wouldn't say, I definitely don't feel like I've ever pushed back. I've always leaped forward. And a lot of times I even would, what do you say? I would jump before crawling, or they say you have to crawl before you walk, right? I just start walking and I'd forget about the crawling. So I always just dived right in. I dreamed big. And so yeah, I've always saw big things for myself.
Wow, congratulations for that. Um,
Yeah.
how do you, when you're getting into, with that being your first film, okay, well, I'm doing a film, I have to have people. How do I, find a cast? What do I look for? How do I know to put this person with this particular role? How did you go about figuring out that process?
Okay. So as I mentioned, I started out acting.
Yeah.
And so I had been performing in a variety of projects. And because of that, I'm a Virgo, my Virgo nature, I don't know, not everyone's into astrology, but I am. And so we are observers by nature.
Mm-hmm.
And so whenever I would be working on a production, I would be looking at all the people involved in making the production happen. So I'd see, okay, the director's telling me what to do. They have the stage managers writing down all the notes and the blocking, and you have the tech department
Right.
cueing the lights. And so over the years, I knew all the elements that were needed to put on a production. And so when I produced my very first play, I pretty much knew what was needed. And it was just a matter of putting those elements together. And so as an actor, there are casting websites that I would use to find work. So now that I was wearing the production hat, I knew to go back to these casting websites to find other actors. And so that's how I would do that. I remember going to a public school and just saying, hey, I want to do these auditions. Can I rent out your theater? And they gave it to me for free. And I ended up using that theater to hold auditions for these actors. And I even held rehearsals there. So everything just fell into place because I knew all the elements that were involved. And anything that I didn't know, I pretty much learned the hard way and then adapted quickly to be able to execute what was needed for the production.
Okay. I like that, how you say, you when you went in, you felt, pretty much face first and like, okay, we're gonna do this. That there may have been some fear there, but it was like, okay, we're gonna, push this thing down and get it moving. Um, and just having that willpower, I think, as even though you're a producer, you're still a business owner. And as that business owner is, I was talking with someone earlier today about understanding and learning how to pivot and figure out, okay, this is what we have to do. Let's do our research. Let's ask questions, and let's just kind of navigate through these woods and see, what we need to do to get to the other side. So with doing that, how hard was it, and how often did you run into people that just didn't want to, give you that helping hand? Not to say you're just asking somebody just to give you stuff and you not work for it, but just somebody that was like, nah, I don't want you over here with me.
Okay, well, um, I will say this because when you come into production and you don't really have a cash flow like that, you end up having to wear all the hats, right? And so uh, in the beginning, I started out going to different people's, trying to build a team, trying to build a crew. And there were times where I couldn't get people because I couldn't afford them. I couldn't afford to pay them. I couldn't afford their work, to pay them their worth. Right. And so I got a lot of no's, people saying, oh, I can't do it for that amount. I had people say, no one will ever do this or whatever for you with that amount of pay, you know? And, but I didn't let that stop me. I still found a way. I still kept pushing. I did find people that did believe in my vision and that were still willing to contribute their services for whatever it was that I could afford to pay them. I would trade and barter with people as well and offer my services and offer to help them out on their productions and everything. So, but I definitely had a lot of no's because of budget restrictions. Mm-hmm. And because of that, I had to do a lot of research and teach myself how to do a lot of things. So, for example, when it comes to the film production, I had to teach myself how to edit. I didn't go to school for it. Right. Actually, when I was in school, I wasn't a film major. I was a theater major. Mm-hmm. And there was an editing film lab, right, next door. And I would sneak in a lab and pose as a film student. And I would use their editing software. And I would come in and start trying to edit my own projects. And that's how I learned to edit.
Gotta do what you gotta do.
Yes. And so I use that as an example just to say I had to wear a lot of hats because of budget restrictions, because, there were a lot of no's as a result of that. But I kept pushing to make it happen.
Okay. We have to do what we have to do sometime to, like you say, if I could get in here, okay, I am a student. Let me, do what I have to do to learn these techniques, get access to equipment and connect it to some people. So I completely understand that. Now you have a new film that you just finished. And by the look on your face, you are super proud about that. So the name of this film is Betrayal of a Nation, an Indictment on America. Wow. So with everything that's going on in the news, from the police brutality to the protests to the election, all of these things that's going on. I'm not going to even call a person's name, with the police brutality, because it's just so many, right? So you have that protesting, election, the dictatorship, all of these things that's going on. Was that something that pushed you to do this story, or had it already been brewing before? Let me take that back. We've always had to go through all of this stuff. This isn't just a 2020 thing. This is nothing new. So in 2020, it's like it enhanced. It just, all the doors just came open. It was nobody hiding behind closed doors anymore. Everybody's just like, boom, here I am, regardless of who I am. Did that have something to help you push to say, okay, I got to get this out this year? Or had you already been working on this and just coincidentally is ready in 2020?
Uh, yeah, a little bit of both.
Okay.
So I've been working on this for the last 4 years, and what sparked me to do this film was the back-to-back murders of Philando Castile and Alton Sterling.
Mm,
They were shot and they were killed by police officers. And for me, that was a breaking point because we had already dealt with Eric Garner, um, you know, Khalif Browder, and the list, Trayvon Martin, Tamir Rice, the list goes on, right?
right, right.
And when these happened back to back, and one of them, Philando, no, Elton Philando Castile, that was shown on social media, right? And so this for me was the breaking point, and I felt like something needs to be done. And we always complain about these things, and we don't often do anything. We tweet about it,
Hmm.
right? We post. And so for me, I kind of felt helpless as just being a regular citizen. And I imagine maybe that's what most people feel when all they do is tweet, right? That's it, kind of comes off like as a complaint because what are you doing about it? But the reality of it is a lot of us, we don't know what to do about it, or we don't feel empowered to be able to do anything. And so I started asking the question, who's to hold accountable for this, for these things that are happening? And, there's a saying, everything is, blame it on the man, right? Who is the man?
Hmm.
The government? And so I wanted to explore how the government was accountable for these murders, but then I wanted to take it beyond that. I wanted to explore how the government was accountable for every um, detrimental occurrence that has taken place within the Black and Brown community. And so that's where Betrayal of a Nation was born. As a part of this nation, we have all been betrayed. And I felt like people needed to understand that, well, the system was designed to be the way that it is. And once you understand that all of these things, all of our oppression that we have endured since we were brought over here, since if you take it beyond us being brought over here, the natives, take it back to then, right? Everything was done by design. And if we understand that, maybe we'll feel more empowered to say, okay, we understand that in order to get past this oppression, we cannot continue to play along with the system that was designed, you know, um, to hurt us. So we have to come up with something different. And I wanted to spark those types of thoughts and people without so much saying it, but just by showing them, right, what's happening. And so in Betrayal of a Nation, the film indicts the US government on 18 charges that are crimes committed against Black and Brown citizens. And so when you think of slavery, right, that was human trafficking. There was rape involved, there was murder involved, there was child abuse involved. So when you look at each occurrence as a crime in the criminal justice system, which they designed, right? If you look at it that way, then it's a great comparison in terms of if you or I committed a crime, we would be arrested, right? And we would be charged with these crimes and we would be thrown in jail, right? But what happens when our government is doing these very same things or worse? Who holds them accountable? Who throws them in jail? Do they throw themselves in jail? Absolutely not. So I thought it was important to show these occurrences as crimes and then also explore, now what? Now we know these are crimes. how do we hold the government accountable? What can we do? What can the average citizen that feels like, hey, all I am is a teacher. You know, I go to work every day and I come home. What can I do to make a difference?
Hey, savvy listeners, it's your girl Tracy. You know what time it is? It's time for a little coffee cup therapy. Get your coffee and come on in and join me real quick. So, I've been thinking, let me tell y'all something. Don't ever, ever, ever ask anyone's permission to pursue your dreams. You know why? Because your dreams belong to you and they're important and they matter. And don't let anybody tell you any differently. Okay? Remember, you're the captain of your own ship, the author of your own story. So you are the one that's in charge to make these dreams a reality. So I say, work hard, dream big, and make those dreams a reality. You know that old saying, go hard or go home. So go out there and be awesome today, folks. Have an absolutely amazing day. Enjoy your coffee. And remember, this world absolutely needs you. Oh, and one more thing. Don't forget, send me some feedback and send those emails to media@savvymag.biz. I hope to hear from y'all.
How can I hold the government accountable?
Right.
But there are ways. And if we have unity, right, and we put the action behind the unity, then we're powerful, right? Like we've seen how everybody took to the streets when George Floyd was murdered, right? So that goes to show when we really band together and we have unity and we just come together, we can get things done. There were some laws that were changed, especially in Minnesota, that resulted from people protesting. Protesting isn't enough. It's not the end all be all. Of course, you have to do more. But the point is that it starts with unity. It starts with everyone being on one accord and saying, hey, listen, we need to band together and do something because we are tired of being treated this way. We are tired of asking for our unalienable human rights.
Right.
Right.
Right. This is I mean it's kind of hard to put words to because some of the things that's happening and that's in the news, I mean, we're not, we know it's there. We know about the racism, we know the police brutality, but the results of some of those things happening and they're not being convicted of crimes, it's not going to court, to trial. Um, they're not being arrested immediately. They're, out with their regular lives for weeks or months. And it blows your mind like, wow, is this real? Is it that real? It's just hard to put words to because it's just so bold now. Even the people, walking around with all of the guns and the flags on their pickup trucks and getting in people's face. And I'm like, I'm not saying I'm for, the violence and you should walk around like we're in the wild, wild west, but you can't go and keep provoking a person and not think there's not going to be anything happen. It's just not going to happen, especially not in 2020. It's just not, in the 1800s, that's a whole nother era. But in this day and age, you cannot do that type of stuff. And I think for you finding a way to bring together a cast, write a script, and put this on film is amazing. Is amazing. And I can't wait for it to come out so people can see it. And I know we're not in the movies right now, but there's a lot of streaming going on, so people can buy their streaming and watch your film. But what can a person expect to get out of this film when they come? Why should they come see Betrayal of a Nation when there are so many other films out there?
Yes, absolutely. And thank you for your compliment as well.
Absolutely.
And so here's the thing. As Black and brown people, we have, as I even say in the documentary, we've been beat up, beat down, right? Um, you name it, it's happened to us, right?
Yeah.
And I think that many of us, we know that we've been oppressed, right? But as you mentioned, a lot of times when these white vigilantes and these officers and such, when they commit crimes towards us, they don't get arrested. We have to fight for them to get arrested. They're not convicted, they're not charged. And so there's been no accountability. And so Betrayal of a Nation for us is a sense of accountability, right? So because we can't get that in real life, I felt like we needed to be able to see how that looks. So I wanted to put it in a film because a lot of times when you see something, then you can push towards it. And it's when we don't see something, we don't see the possibility. And I wanted the Black and brown community to see that anything is possible and not to be discouraged. And so Betrayal of a Nation allows for us to see the accountability, holding the government accountable for these crimes. And it also helps you, it's an educational piece. So there, you'll find that you learn some things that you probably did not know about our justice system and some occurrences throughout history. And so I would just say that if you are a person that feels helpless or like you're just a regular Joe, a regular Joe Schmo, and you want to be inspired to see how you can do something just being one person, right? Then I think this movie is also for you. I think you can get that out, get that out of that. If you're thinking, what can I do other than tweet?
Yeah.
I think Betrayal of a Nation can be the beginning of you figuring out your own journey. Because throughout the film, you actually see my journey. And in that, you see me around my community and exploring who do we hold accountable? And we know that's the government, but how is the government held accountable? And so when you're watching, you get to really understand how the government is accountable on the federal level, the local and state levels, right? So you get to understand that as well. And for me, when I started this journey, honestly, there were a lot of things that I didn't fully understand myself. I mean, I had the gist of things, like I was like, okay, there's an issue with bail, with the cash bail system. But I did not fully understand what the issue was. I just knew that I kept hearing about it and that there was something wrong in it, but I didn't fully understand.
Right.
And so you see me coming in as a person that admittingly did not know a lot about my history. Again, I knew the gist of it, and I feel a lot of us know the gist of it, but we don't know the full story or the full picture. And so I had to explore. And through my exploration, I discovered my own pathway. And I showed that on camera because I wanted to inspire those that were just like me to discover their own journey and to figure out what role do they play within their own communities when it comes to liberation.
Wow. So what's next for Brandi Webb?
Well, what's next is, so right now, the film Betrayal of a Nation is completed. And we also just won an Indie Fest award for the
Oh,
Indie Fest Film Festival.
congratulations.
Thank you. And we've submitted to some other film festivals, so we're just waiting to hear back, and hopefully we pick up some more awards. And in the meantime, we are seeking distribution. So I would love to be on a platform such as Netflix, Hulu. So we're looking for a platform so that way we can get this film to everyone, so we can share it with a worldwide audience, and everyone can be educated, informed, and inspired. And so right now, that's what's next. So just getting that to a platform, and yeah, that's what's in the that's what's in the works right now.
Wow. So I know you, like you said, you're working on getting the movie distributed. So if someone wanted to reach out to you to be on your team, or to say, okay, when you have another one out, I'm in, just call me, how can they get connected with you?
Well, they can hit me up via email, which is yet to evolve, the number 2. So yet to evolve at gmail.com. Or they can follow our pages on Instagram and Facebook, which is at Betrayal of a Nation. And that is the same for Facebook and Instagram. So they can follow the pages. You can slide in my DM, and and then we'll take it from there.
Wow. This is, I can't wait. And this is something I think everybody should, watch. Parents, bring your kids, let them watch, this history, because Brandi is going somewhere. We have a lot more to see from Miss Brandi Webb. So thank you again for coming on and doing this interview with us.
Thank you. It was such a pleasure. And I look forward to coming back once we get it on a platform, so I can let everyone know what date to tune in to watch. So
Absolutely. Thank you.
thank you. Have a good day.